Good evening, Newcastle County VOTEC families. Welcome to our first of three town halls. My name is Joseph Jones. I'm the superintendent. I'm very glad that you could join us this evening as we move forward together in our 21-22 school year. So throughout tonight, we're going to go through where we are currently in the process of preparing for the upcoming school year. We know that all of you live very complex lives. Your schedules are complex, that you have your own work responsibilities, parents, and that the stress and uncertainty of COVID continues to linger, whether it's the Delta variant, whether how schools are going to reopen, other counties, other states, what they're doing, all create levels of doubt and uncertainty in all of our own lives. So the intention and purpose of these town halls is really to give you an idea of where we are at, where we are heading, and mainly because a lot of our families also have students in other surrounding school districts. As you know, as a high school only district, you may have other children. If you're a student listening in, your brother or sister may attend a sister district in the county. And although we do our best to stay aligned, there may be small variations. So I wanted to present tonight on exactly how we're moving forward and give you some peace of mind towards the end of July. So our current status and what we'll go through tonight is our COVID-19 update, the impact that is having on our schools for the upcoming school year. We'll also talk a little bit about ESSER funding, which is a part of the American Recovery Plan, and some of the funds that Newcastle County VOTEC is receiving, and some of that is how we are spending them. Our in-person instruction model for this upcoming school year, the first week of school, and then also transportation. So let me start with ESSER funding. Newcastle County VOTEC, along with a lot of other districts, received certain monies available to us. We are open to suggestions. If you know of ways that you think it may benefit your student, your child, please use the chat feature. And also let me say that this chat feature is available tonight for any additional questions you may have. We will then create a frequently asked question document and share that with all the families. We've discovered really throughout last year and through a series of town halls and meetings that was one of the best and most effective ways to move forward, since a lot of parents are thinking the same things, have the same questions. This is a nice way for us to get the message out. But we will compile those suggestions, share them with key staff members, and then also give you feedback on how some of that is being spent. So let's talk about COVID-19, what this school year is looking like. Let me also really put, an asterisk on everything I say. What I say tonight is based on where we are currently in our state, in our county, and in our district. As we know that COVID has forced us to be very patient. Things change. And it is very possible that what I tell you tonight, we may need to adjust, we may need to pivot. I can tell you one of the largest frustrations I had last April, when we first went out in the pandemic in that March and we shut down for 2 weeks, we started planning, and say we started planning at 8 a.m. I can tell you by noon, some of those plans were no longer even relevant or valid. So what I'm going to share with you is where we are currently, and it's based on the best information that we have. So we intend to start the school year very strong. Being a vocational technical school district, I can't stress enough how important it is for our students to be in person. So we are moving forward with full day classes, 5 days a week, in-person instruction for all of our students. Now, we also know the safest way to do that, based on the information that we've received, is through the vaccinations. So we want our students to be safe and physically present. And we know there's levels of safety. There's emotional safety, there's physical safety. Both are needed for students to learn. and we want our students in person and feeling safe. Vaccinations right now are the safest way we know that's being done. It's available to those above the age of 12. We did host several events, five, I believe, total vaccination events at the end of the school year. We already have one lined up at Howard on August 19th, and we'll continue to work with various state agencies to have those vaccination clinics at our other schools, Hodson, Delcastle, and St. George's. We know also that right now the pandemic and COVID-19, if it is spreading, if it is in people's lives still, it tends to be among those who are either getting the Delta variant or who have not been vaccinated. Currently, those between the ages of 12 and 17, roughly 40% in the state of Delaware have received their first vaccine. The best and safest way for us to get started this school year is for all of us to be vaccinated, and that way we can continue without the levels of quarantining, the levels of isolation and contact tracing that we all experienced last school year. So that's the beginning. We're also going to start with a staggered start. So what that means, some of you are new to VOTEC. So you may have students in other school districts, but we need to get to know your child best. So that first week of school, and although we're still ironing out some details, what we will do mostly is have a grade level a day. And so that way the entire faculty can be there for that student who may have not been in school for almost a year and a half. So that staggered start allows us to focus on a grade level a day, and also will get your student acclimated into school, into the building. We know a lot of our students still may feel trepidation. We know some of you still may be very hesitant to send your student to school. We are doing everything possible through our mitigation strategies to ensure that our school is safe. We're following the CDC and Division of Public Health guidelines. So where we can socially distance at 3 feet as per the guidelines, we are. We're following the rules for the lunchrooms, and we'll get specifically into some of that as well. Next, I want to talk about, though, this idea of re-engagement. Although students have been online, some have played sports, some have been in school, we understand that coming back to school 5 days a week may be an adjustment. We understand that students may not be the same students they were just 18 months ago. We know for a fact that COVID has wreaked havoc on many people's lives, whether it's job loss, family loss. We know that our students aren't the same. So we're going to do our best to re-engage them, reconnect with them, build supports around them so they are successful this upcoming school year. So I want to talk a little bit about masks and where we are right now. Now, I will say there is still a lot of difference out there on what's going to occur. This may change, but as of tonight, we are basing our recommendations off of the CDC. So that means students and staff are encouraged to wear masks while indoors if they have the vaccine. Anyone who is not vaccinated is highly encouraged to wear that mask as to protect themselves and others. And this goes for any aspect of the building. Now, I mentioned that this might change. Some of you know that the CDC guidelines is what we've based this on, and you may recognize this. However, the American Association of Pediatrics has recently come out, and they have said that all students, regardless, and staff should wear masks. So we are wrestling with all of that information. We'll do our best to provide the most clear, direct, transparent rules and regulations possible. But as of tonight, masks were highly encouraging for those not vaccinated and encouraging those who are. We do know, though, that the vaccine works, and not to continue to harp on that, but I also know as a superintendent, what's most important to us is your students in our building learning. We need our students running wire, cutting pipe, learning CPR, dealing with our little ones in our early childhood. We've had a phenomenal school year last year where people went above and beyond, but hands-on learning, what we learn here and what we want our students to take into the field is critical importance to us. And you'll also notice whether it's the CDC or the Pediatrics Association, everybody does agree that schools need to be open and students need to be in person. So let's talk a little bit about what CTE, career and technical education, will look like, what the academics will look like. We've taken an enormous amount of time and on through each grade level, through each content area, have aligned focus priority content. This is all grade appropriate assignments, academic and CTE, and we've prioritized what must our students know? What must they know to be able to say, I've successfully learned this material. I'm a confident and competent learner in this subject area. And we know that although a lot of our students learned online, and they probably did learn an enormous amount, our goal in the beginning is to test our students. And we know sometimes that word can send chills down students' spine. I have 3 students of my own. I just graduated my son Joey, and he is going off to school next year. But I also have a current sophomore, and I have another older son who's 20. I know whenever I mention that word test and so on, the reaction students get. But there's a difference between testing students, for no reason, which, some students feel like that is the case, and testing students to truly figure out where they are, where we need them to be, and we can bridge that gap. That's of the utmost importance in all our classes. So when students enter in the beginning of the school year, they will take a variety of diagnostic assessments, even in their CTE areas, so we can get them caught up as quickly and as accelerated as possible. The other is, with that data, we will have after-school success academies that'll run for our students. We know that high dosage tutoring works, that if we can narrow down specifically what we want to teach students and help them learn in these after school programs, they can learn it, they will be equipped, and then once we feel confident, they would move on. And so these are some of the things that we're preparing for the upcoming school year. So our whole premise of strong instruction is lesson design. So this is prioritized curriculum with high quality instructional materials. We have a lot of activity over the summer. We've brought in a number of teachers. We have our instructional division working hard to prioritize that curriculum and making sure that we can help our students succeed. So just make sure also if the chat fortunately is disabled, you can put your questions right in the Q&A, and that way we can gather anything that will make you feel more informed. Also, we will give formative assessments consistency and regularly. These are real-time assessments within the class. So this isn't typically something that is shared with parents and so on. This is during the class. Really, a teacher will take a moment and check for understanding, as we typically call it. And from there, we have built those in. A lot of our students, our teachers are experts at this prior to COVID. And now this is something that we want routine, that we want to feel confident in, and making sure our students are learning. So we have doubled down on our professional learning and practices to ensure that our teachers can implement these strategies with fidelity. And then lastly, we are reflecting on what we're doing, and we'll continue to do that throughout the year to see what's working and what adjustments or pivots we need to make. So when we talk about engagement, we also want to talk about the social emotional well-being. We created this summer a student services division, typically in Newcastle County VOTEC. These really services and different individuals who worked in these positions were folded into other areas or other divisions. We've created this specifically to make sure our students are supported, and there's a connection between our wellness centers, our social workers, our extracurricular activities. We know that students being involved above and beyond their CTE area and their academics leads to greater success. So CTSOs, if you're not familiar with that, is Career Technical Student Organizations. And then the FAM is something we started last year, Forever a Movement. This is a great opportunity for students to come together district-wide, support each other, and then throughout the year, we host events that really students want. We're starting to kick off. Every year we have an event called Unity Day. Originally, Unity Day was started in October, based for bully prevention. That's something that we've done for several years. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we could not, but that's something our students are beginning to work on, and we'll plan that event. But our FAM will continue to plan events throughout the school year. So it's just a couple ways to get engaged and once again, reconnect into the daily life of schools. So a little more about our student support services. This is about social and emotional supports. We have our school counselors, which are available for appointments via Schoology, phone, email, or Teams. We also have our school-based health centers or our wellness centers that are staffed by Christiana Care, and they are also available for our students free of charge. You just need to register. We also, through our ESSER funds, have hired, and we're going to hire 2 more social workers. Currently, we have them, but we feel 2 more are needed in our district. As we mentioned earlier, we know our students have experienced a lot of trauma, and we know it's very difficult to learn when we have other things that are occupying our mind, when we have uncertainty and doubt starting to chip away at our normal state and our willingness and our ability to be present. And so this is just all within that package of trying to help students and support them in their needs. I just wanted to also make sure you had a couple of the resources. Feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. We'll post this slide, this entire PowerPoint for all of our families, but we have child priority response crisis line there. We also have family services division, and then Delaware 211, which really is a network of resources for families. One thing we've definitely learned throughout COVID is that schools have become the hub of our communities, and we continue want to serve our families in various ways, whether it's meals, whether it's resources, whether it's still being able to get students on the field or on the court, wherever it may be, to give them that identity they once had within their schools, let them continue to learn, be successful, and be a strong part of Newcastle County VOTEC. I also want to talk a second about transportation. We are moving to full seating capacity on our buses, which is up to 48 students. I will say, though, that we are in, and this isn't just Newcastle County VOTEC, this is all across the state. This is really across the nation. We have a massive driver shortage. Please reach out to us if you are interested in driving. It's a wonderful opportunity to be a part of the district, meet students, and really do an incredible service. So if you have any interest in driving, please reach out to us. There is a driver shortage. Following current CDC orders, all passengers and drivers will have to wear their masks on the bus. This is required. We'll open windows, vents, weather permitting on the bus, and we will clean all the high touch surfaces daily. At the bus stop, we do ask students to still socially distance. It's great they're outside. They don't have to wear their masks until they board the bus, but that social distance is typically around 3 feet. Now, we also ask, though, for you to take our survey. And so we put a survey out. It's a very short survey regarding bus transportation. One thing we were able to do last year is reduce the number of routes that we actually ran once we found out who actually needed transportation. And so because our buses cover the entire county, some of our routes can be long. And so because of that, if we can shorten some of those routes, because we know a student received a car, they're going to drive themselves, or Del Castle, where I'm coming to you from tonight, is right by your work. So you're going to drop your child off. All of that can help us. And if you give us that information, we'll then schedule our routes accordingly. We also have a change in our process, and this is really information for our upper class classmen, but even our new families. We used to send out over 4,000 postcards with bus information. We discovered last year that due to COVID and really everyone's reliance on technology, that parents quickly became adept with Schoology, with eSchool, looking for that information, and that being a primary way that as a district and as a school, we can communicate with you. Now, I will say on a typical year, usually the superintendent would not be talking to you midsummer. Most of the communication will always come from the school. But I also know, in light of everything that's going on, all the complexities out there, all of the worries, that this night will mean quite a bit for our families. So we will provide you with your bus transportation information on your students' eSchool. And so many students are familiar with that. They know where to look. That also will allow us to schedule much closer to our actual school date. In the past, we had to get the postcards out, and then if we had to make changes, then we'd have to communicate with the families. Now it'll be real time. You can look, you can see it, and we can really work to the last minute. So for transportation, those are two major differences. You can find the survey on our website. These are two screenshots of the tiles on our website. Please take it. It'll even prompt you. If you have not been on our website lately, it'll prompt you to take that. So let me also let you know that the primary ways that we communicate as a district is through our district and school websites, our home access center, and our all-call system. As we get closer to the school year, we will run test runs with this. So, for example, Dr. Harrison at St. George's may do an all-call and then also send out an email blast. And this is a way for us to make sure you're getting one or the other, hopefully both. And because we lived in unprecedented times, we needed to get a hold of parents quickly, rapidly, and to make sure that they were able to hear our message. So through the all-call system, through the email, we'll make sure we have accurate information and that we're able to communicate with you throughout the school year. So this is our first town hall. Again, any questions? I'm looking at the Q&A as I'm talking. We have a few questions. We'll create that FAQ and get back to you. Remember that we are very excited to have your children with us. If you're an incoming ninth grader and a ninth grade parent, thank you for participating in our summer home visits. We conducted close to 900 summer home visits in our school. That usually takes place at the home, but we still were able to get students into our building. Please continue to look for our messages. Our next town hall, which we recorded, will be posted on August 4th. We will post something regardless that evening. And so one of the key ways that we'll make sure that you know that you're up to date with the latest information is through these town halls. So I'll present even if there's nothing new or nothing to add. So I just want to reiterate as we close that we are coming back full time, 5 days a week for full days, full in person, full instruction. As a career and technical education school district, I can't stress enough how critical it is for our students to learn within their CT areas, whether it's getting under the hood of the car or, like I said, learning CPR, working with other students. And I wanted to share a few pics at this last end. These are real photos, real students. dedicated to learning their craft. We couldn't be more proud of them. We've had still tremendous success with a lot of our graduating seniors earning their industry recognized credential, still working in their cooperative employment job, and still earning their diploma. So, given all of what we are facing, thank you for being a part of Newcastle County VOTEC. Thank you for entrusting your child's education with us. I wish everyone a wonderful summer. Enjoy this beautiful evening. Again, I'm Dr. Joseph Jones. I'm the superintendent. I'm very glad that you were able to join us tonight. Thank you.